Hi everyone, great to see you again. I'll just get my settings in the right place. Okay, hello everyone. Hello to Cesart and Freya and everyone else, Fianchetto. We have a new user here somewhere, IS318. All right, welcome IS and everyone else. So nice. We were doing Svidler's best games, right? We were looking at some interesting moments from Petter Svidler's games, and we came across this example, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought maybe we could have a quick look at what happened in this game. Just one last glimpse at Black's best strategy. I think I will just quiz you for the next 3 moves, all right? Let's see if somebody remembers what happens here in this game. So I'll give you 30 seconds, all right, guys? Let's see if you can remember. Oh, you did certainly remember. Shout out Fianchetto, Chess Art, Tricky Windmill, Dash Boyer, Skilled Saber, and so on. Many of you got it right. Some of you forgot maybe what White had in mind here. Yeah, interestingly, this is also connected to our topic today. So it's somehow related. Yeah, you were not here. No problem, Nicole. Please, Sharat, you are one of the fastest here today. So please show us, how will you continue here with the black pieces? So we are looking at the color of the bishops, and we discover that both bishops are dark squared. So we are very much favored by placing our pawns on light squares. If we don't play this, if we play some other move, like b5, I think we said last time that White could they could try to fix pawns like f5 or maybe g4, right? Start discovering new user, okay. Yeah, any sound issues, try pressing f5. No, very often refreshing the browser can help us. So anyways, this is what we were saying. If we're saying that this plan is very logical, but if we do it, we give them a chance to fix the pawns favorably, right? And we probably don't queen with this pawn because White king is quite close. Fixing pawns, exactly, sounds like we are going there in just a minute. We were looking at this. This is actually sounds like this is fixing pawns, what we're doing here. Yeah, exactly. So we're already looking into our next topic. King d3 was played by Svane in this game. And Sharat, what was the next move here? b5. Yeah, this is maybe not about fixing pawns. It's more about stopping king c4, which we don't want to allow them to play. And here Svane tried to trade off the bishops, but Svidler said no. And he put the bishop on e7 specifically. This was not like a random retreat. He had a very clear idea. That's why he put the bishop there. White played bishop e5. And the White king would like to enter. So yeah, exactly, Tricky and Sharat, that's right. He played king e6, and later on he continued with this plan, and he went on to win this game. We said that one plan for Black was actually to push the pawn the whole way through, and then you could try to target this pawn. So all we were saying here is that the color of the pawns actually matter to a great deal. If you take this position, let's say I changed the color of some of the pawns. I don't know if I just changed some of them, right? Something like this. Maybe it's not so clear anymore that Black is better, right? In this position. I don't know. At least White has a few targets. Maybe White is better. Yeah, maybe. No, it comes down to calculation also, of course, if we can do something with these pawns. But I'm just saying in general now that it's good to see the color of the pawns with respect to our bishop. So anyway, let's continue and let's start a new topic. So the topic we're talking about is called fixing pawns, right? So basically we try to arranging the pawns on the right color, you would say, right color, depending on the color of the squares that at least one bishop control, right? It could be, here it's a bishop endgame now, but it could be bishop versus knight, for instance, and then only one of the bishops is, there is only one bishop in this case, and so on. So it depends a little on which pieces are on the board. Anyway, enough talking. Let's bring up our first example. We have two very strong players from the past, John Timan and Valery Salov. We're back in the 1990s, I think, around here, 1980s actually. And at this stage, Salov he played an evident move here. He played h5. All right, guys, it's your turn. I would like to know how you would continue here with the white pieces. How do you think Jon Timman continued at this point? All right, I'll give you 1 and 15. Yeah, maybe you can fix pawns. Who knows? But don't play too automatically, okay, guys? Take your time. Which pawn do you want to fix? And maybe there is one pawn that you could fix later, and there is another pawn that you should fix right now, or something like that. Yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. So Santos and Happy Pawn, you're definitely on the right track. I don't think that is a big difference, though. We will look into this. Yeah, we will look into it. What I'm thinking about is which is Black's weakest pawn and how would you try to attack it? If you answer that question, Santos, Happy Pawn, IS, Pop Fisher, and Advik, you will probably choose a different way of proceeding here. Grilled cheese, you were very close, but there is one bad thing about your move, grilled cheese. You are truly fixing all the pawns in that case. But how can you get at that pawn in the end? That's what I'm asking. So we had a few winners here. Yeah, Viz and Star Discovery, Chess Crusher, Pawn Patrol, and Tricky Windmill. Yeah, these are the fortunate 5, or I shouldn't say fortunate, the successful 5 who found this. Star Discovery, I think I don't know this student, so nice to see you, Star Discovery. Please show us what you discovered here. What is your first move, Star Discovery? Yeah, exactly, Happy Pawn. It's the H pawn, right? So I'm giving the move to Star Discovery, but I don't get any moves. I will ask somebody else. Chess Crusher, I think you're around, right? Chess Crusher rarely fails on this occasion. So F4. We had 2 pawns that we could fix, right? We could fix this pawn, of course, by playing h4 instead. Or we could play f4. Which pawn are we fixing? Well, in a way, we are fixing this pawn. But more likely, we are fixing the e pawn. Now, that's the pawn which is very unlikely to advance in the near future. But yeah, basically, we're fixing both of the pawns. Why are we so interested in fixing the pawns on that color? Well, because black is sitting with this color, of course. Aha, you just play on the board. Yeah, don't, thanks for writing Star Discovery, but thanks to this great chessable classroom, everyone can actually move the pieces. So h4, you could play it, but in that case, I would probably go e5. It's not completely clear how white would win this later. Please don't forget that on the queen side, probably black's power structure is a bit better, right? So coming back to Chess Crusher, what was your first move, Crusher? You play f4, right? So you eliminate any attempts at e5. Yeah, he played in the game knight c5, Valery Salov. Our next move, we are targeting the pawn on h5. We're forcing them to play. The knight check it's not really that important now. For instance, you can't even play this now, but even if you could, I'm more than happy to trade this pawn for that pawn. I would love to take the h pawn, right? So I can queen. What's wrong with king e3 on move 2? The wrong with king e3 is that it's a wrong plan, Santos. Yeah, better to win the pawn, exactly. So usually, yeah, this is the position. No, usually activate the king means bringing it towards the center, right? Usually when you say we should activate the king in the endgame, you're saying, okay, bring up the king, something like that. But here we have an exception, right? You could play king e3. I don't think it's a crime to play it. But exactly what's your plan after that? Let's say I play, yeah, what would I play with black here? Should I play knight e4 or can I maybe play, yeah, I would play knight e4, I think, just out of safety. Oh, king d5 maybe, says Sarat. Yeah, you're probably right, Sarat. This looks like a smarter move than my move. Aha, king d5 is smarter, so bishop f3, I guess you're going to c4. And so on. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I'll play king d5 instead. Exactly, Tricky. Look what Tricky writes. Yeah, extremely smart comment. Oh, we will copy this. So, why did you miss it? You missed it. We can miss king g2 due to what they call like positional biases or something like that. We have this, or it seems wrong to go this way, right? It seems right to go that way. We have done it so many times in other games. That's one of the problems that us chess players, we suffer from this a little. Like we have these patterns, like predefined patterns that we're following. That's why it's difficult to play this move, but not for Jon Timman. I mean, the moment you start calculating, you can find it now if you don't just rely on general principles. There is another situation, by the way. Can somebody tell me that? Another situation where an active king doesn't necessarily mean centralizing this piece. Yeah, in the middle game. Yeah, I don't talk about like bringing up the king to h6 and give mate. That's not what I meant, though, in the opening. No, I was thinking of something else, but I'm not sure if I could actually find this. I could maybe show it next time. I don't know if I... Do I have a chance of showing you that example? Yeah, I would really like to check, but it could be difficult. Let me see if I have a chance of... Wait for me just one moment. I'll try to figure out if I could actually find it. Let me see. Which was the other one? One moment, please. Yeah, be a little patient, and we'll be right back. Yeah, like this one, right? Interesting. I was looking at an endgame. Yeah, I'll show you my endgame, and we will see if this makes sense for anyone here. Let's do a little side activity, okay? Like, yeah, I understand short Timman, yeah, but that's like 1 in a million, no? I was looking at this endgame. I thought it was interesting. The pawn is going this way. Black plays rook f6. Anyone, like white's best plan here? How do you think white should try to make a draw in this game? Yeah, you could try to check me, of course. I looked at that also. If you check me, I think I'm going towards the pawn, right? Like I would play like that, I think. Is that correct? I'm running? Yeah, exactly. You should attack the rook. Who said that? Tricky said that. Yeah, all right, Tricky. We will bring you on. So it's Tricky. How would you actually make a draw in this endgame? King c6. Yeah, it looks strange now to play like that. But the point is that you can use the king in that way. So unusual, no? All I'm saying that when we are playing for defense, when we're on the defensive, the king can be used as well. No, I think we have seen many examples where white wins the game thanks to their active king, or black wins the game, but you can actually use it in this way also. Yeah, no way to go wrong, right? I cannot tricky windmill here in this example. And so on. So yeah, I think actually all the moves are only moves. No, interesting. If somebody's interested, we can give everybody a chance to do this. It's a little off topic. It has nothing to do with fixing pawns, but I thought it was an interesting example. Of course, black can play in other ways also, no, but this would be our main line at least. So yeah, good work by the white king, right? Let's see if we can get it right. And if I could find that other example, it would be really great. But I know exactly how it looks. But yeah, which one was that? How do I get to that example? Yeah, but that's another situation. Yeah. Anyway, if I can find it, I will bring it up. Okay, we have a new user, Q Spellman. All right, Q Spellman, welcome. We will ask Dash Bodger Olson. Dash, what would you play here with white pieces? So congratulations to all the winners here. Yeah, Santos, Tricky, Salthak, Sharat, Anushka, Skilled Saber, Vish, Metsa, IS, Chess Crusher, Patrol, Freya, Happy Pound, Fianchetto, John Drip, Nicole, King Colin, Lily, Pop Fisher, Dash Bodger, Advik, Yegna, Oski, and Alan. All right, there you go. We just bring in the king as soon as possible. And in that way, we're using the king to deflect black's rook from the defense of the pawn or something like that. All right. If I have time later, I will try to bring up the other example I was thinking of. But please notice, all I want to say is that an active king can mean many things now, not just centralizing it now. Yeah. Anyway, coming back to Jon Timman, here we go again. Yeah, thanks, Das. Go back to Jon Timman. Here we are. So, which were the initial moves here? Let's ask somebody. We will ask Nicole. Nicole, did you pay attention to the solution? What did Jon Timman play after h5? f4, fast learner, Nicole. After f4, black played knight c5, logical move, improving the knight. And after bishop e2, bishop e8, here came the magnificent plan of bringing the king to take this pawn, simple as that. And there was nothing he could do about this, poor Salo. He played bishop c6. I think you can guess the moves. Attacking h5, exactly, happy pawn. So those of you who said here, may be very enthusiastic about today's topic, you played h4. Unfortunately, this doesn't help us, right? Because we are fixing a pawn which doesn't need to be fixed anymore. It can't move anyway. We're taking away the square from the king. So please careful, don't apply the ideas like in mechanic fashion. No? Always try to consider different options and so on. Exactly, it creates a weakness and so on. You're right in that. Why not knight e4? Yeah, if you go knight e4, I go... When, by the way? Yes, interesting suggestion. Yeah, when would that be? That would be probably around here, right? You're saying after... Oh, we have to protect first, of course, yeah. So you want to play knight e4 here, yeah, okay. I will try this. I think I know the answer. Should I ask somebody about this? Yeah, Sharat is right. Sharat is right. You can go up this way, and here, fortunately, white could simply play. Yeah, Timman won this game. That's right, Sarthak. We play h3. I hope that answers your question. Who was this? Yes. Yeah, knight f2. You could try that, of course. Black would love to trade off these two pawns. But we can guess the next move here. John Drip says bishop d4. Exactly. Not so much to take... Well, actually, we're happy to take this pawn also. But I would say that even in this case, I mean, if I'm blind or I'm old and tired and I don't see this pawn, I think I can even play like that also, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think even this would win quite easily, no? I'll just run with the pawn and so on. So I'm afraid there is no way out for poor Valery Salov at this stage of the battle. So this is how the game continued. Bishop d5. And are you still there, Nicole? You can maybe show us the last few moves of this game. Not so interesting anymore. Aha, you could take the pawn also. Why did Timman not take? Probably because he thought that it's better to take with the king, because in that way you unblock the pawn, right? If you see what I mean. You need to move the king anyway, right? So he actually played this first. And then, yeah, you can play these moves in your sleep, Nicole. They are extremely evident, the moves that he played. Even the last move is quite evident, I think. Yeah. Yeah, just don't break my heart. Don't play h4 here. But all the other moves are quite good. Yeah, you could perhaps even go back. Sharat says king g6. That's what Timman played. And later on, white simply pushed this pawn forward. So, yeah, very nice. Excellent work. I think everybody got this right. Now, should we repeat this very quickly, perhaps? Let's repeat it very quickly, and I will bring up some slightly more complex endgame, all right? Please remember what we said about using the king as an active piece and so on. Yeah. All right, I think that will be enough. So here we go. There we go. Okay, we had a lot of winners. Excellent work. Lily and Crusher, Santos, Metsamortis, Oski, Sarthak, Nicole, Visk, Cheese, Fianchetto, Sharat, Popfiso, Yegna, Freya, King Collie, Tricky, Skilled, Happy, IS, Bojo, Star Discovery, Young Jal, and Chess Out. Chess Out, last but not least. Show us, please. I played f4, but it said bishop e2 was the move. I don't know. At this point, if you play bishop e2, I'm definitely going e5. Hoping to trade off pawns and so on. So it's probably better if you play it the other way around with f4 first freezing the pawn structure, right? In this case. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that happened then. Some kind of, yeah, computer magic or something. So king d2, and we go and take this pawn. All right, excellent. Before we continue, since we're talking about other endgame topics, I came across this game also. I thought maybe it could be interesting. You can see that it's a funny endgame, no? Where black's king is in a very strange place, and you can see white's plan here. Anyone, what's white's plan here? What is white trying to do? Or they have no plan? I think so, Sharat. They are trying to play b6. b6, and if rook takes b6, they want to take on g5, and then maybe even trade off the rooks, right, and win the game. Right. So it's white's rook is in a very bad place right now, but if they could play b6 and trade these two pawns, they would have serious winning chances. So I was just curious about how would you continue with the black pieces here. Let's see if somebody can figure out. Let's see. Okay, not connected to today's topic, but still kind of interesting, I think. Let's see if I can get this right. It's a long variation, so you'll have to take some time. Okay, there you go. I'll give you 1 minute and 30, all right? But it's quite hard to get all the moves. But if you can get to move five or so, I'll be happy. Yeah, I think you can't. I understand your point. Who said this move? Grilled cheese and so on. I see your point, but I don't think it works. I'm very sorry. Wow, this was hard for most of you, I can see. Yeah, those of you who go like Michael Jackson backwards, I will play b6 now. And I'll take the pawn on g5. Who got any closer? Wow, nobody got the first move. Maybe my example is wrong. It's suspicious when nobody gets it right. No, we had some winners. Star Discovery. Yeah, good work, Star. You're extremely close. But I think I have rook a2 check, right, Star? But you were very, very close, Star. And nobody else is close, it seems. Wow. Metza Mortis, congratulations. You got the first move. Not bad. And Happy Pawn, you're also extremely close. Yeah, nice. So this was a difficult one, I can see. Yeah, let's see, Sharat, you're very close. Okay, let's bring up Star Discovery then. You were fastest here. What was your surprising move? Well, since we talked about king activity, now I think you can move the pieces to Star Discovery. That's not e8. E8 is over here. I think you're going somewhere else, right? I'm moving over to the king side. Yeah. Star Discovery, would you mind moving the pieces? Else, I think it's the last time I'm calling you up. If you can't move the pieces, then we have a serious problem, no? Because I gave you the black pieces. Yeah, I don't get any contact with Star. Oh, now there came the move, king d1. So this is the surprising solution. We're bringing the king in this direction. Yeah, don't play it too soon, though. Wait for white to commit first. So if white plays now b6, which was the supposed plan, right? Yeah, this is the moment. No, don't do that, Star Discovery. That's a good plan, but it's executed at the wrong moment. So first, perhaps, exactly, mating 1. Good observation. So we should probably play, yeah, mating 2, okay. Anyway. Yeah, rook b1 is possible. But let's not speak about insignificant things now. So what should black play then? Of course, we take the pawn. The moment white takes the pawn, now we can play it, right? Now we bring in the king. Very unusual way to use your king, but it works quite well. You're going this way. And if king f3, anyone? Yeah, not so difficult move. Of course, we just stick to the plan so that the moment they go king g4, we can take this pawn. So here black would make a draw in this position, but more critical is if they go this way instead. Now the white king is also trying to get active. Is black holding this anyway? He plays rook h6, rook h8, rook h6, rook h8. Oh, you mean that endgame? Yeah, let's check again. b6 takes, king f3, king f1, king g4, king takes. And I think you're just staying like that, right? Or no? Or maybe not. I actually don't know. Tricky. It's tricky for me also, this situation. But I think this is a clear threat, right? And if you go this way, I'm hoping I can check you like that. I mean, I wanted to know if king f1. Oh, I see. King f1, rook h6. King f1, rook h6. I think so. I think I looked at this also. But wait a little. Yeah, I think so. That's maybe even simpler. You're right in that. Yeah, good point. You could just wait forever and so on. Yeah, just sit and wait. Aha, if rook h5, you're of course just, it's gonna be the same thing, right? You could play like that and it's a draw anyway. Aha. Instead of king f1, you play rook h6. In king f1, you play rook h6. But don't tempt the devil, no? The king is in a very bad place. I don't know what happens if I played something like g4, for instance, and you take and I go here. And I'm not sure, but it looks a little scary now, or no? Or this is an easy draw maybe somehow. Yeah, sorry that I don't know this by heart, but I would be a little nervous here. Oh, king e2 simply. I bring up the pawn, maybe you bring up... It's not like you're cut off, or that doesn't matter maybe if it's an h pawn. Looks scary from here, but maybe it's a draw. Rook f6 is tricky. Okay, I mean, I'm sending the rook in this direction probably. Rook f1. Wow, we're learning endgames with tricky. So if I just continue with my plan, I don't know. I'm just following the most evident plan. Maybe it cannot be won. Yeah, but looks scary in any case. White's winning, I would think so, but not an expert in this endgame. And I even don't know where I can go wrong. I'm hiding my king here in the end, and I'm bringing my rook as a bridge, right? So I don't know. Rook h1 and rook b1 drew. Oh, I don't know. When would that be? Like earlier or later? Later. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. What did you play last time? Like this and that and this and what happened after this? Rook h1 and rook b1. Rook h1 when? Like here? You want to do some kind of side attack? Is that what's going on? I still don't understand this, but am I in the wrong place? Rook t1, all right. And now we play what? The side attack. Okay, I'm just playing the most evident moves. I play this, and you play rook b7, and I put my king here, and I somehow bring my rook over, or that's not happening in this case. Rook b6, I'm putting my king down. If this is a draw, I think, yeah, I don't think you can save this. I'm coming this way now. Yeah, probably. Rook b1, yeah, good try. I was going to play this move to try to queen next turn. I think that makes sense now. King f5, yeah, extremely good try. May I check you first? Anyway, coming back to our topic. No, very interesting endgame. Yeah, maybe it's a draw in that way also. We were looking at the right solution, bringing the king in this direction. And who was showing this, by the way? Somebody was showing this, new user, I think. Star was showing this. Yeah, anyway, coming back to the topic. So the most critical move is king d3. White is going this way. By the way, this did not happen in the game. This game between Usenina and Kiolbasa. it did not happen. Now it's something that I analyzed a little myself. Now King E1, says Oski. All right, Oski, where are you? You can show us then. You can move the pieces, Oski. Let's see if you can get this right. Aha, making your life easy. Yeah, right. The easier the better, in both when we're attacking and defending. So the difficult moment came here, because we would of course expect King F2 to be the best move. But in that case, since I have my pawn protected, I could just continue then like that, right? So we must not go in that direction. King F1 is the same thing. I just go Rook A2 and you can't stop it anyway. Exactly, Sharat. So you need to play Rook B2. This is the difficult move. Exactly, Happy Pawn. Rook B2 is the difficult move because it's natural that we would like to approach the king. But in this way, you can actually take the pawn. So, yeah, King C5 would be played by white, and it was entertaining to analyze this because you would play this move, but it has a big problem, this move, right? You can't take it, I think. Can you? I think I go Rook. No, I don't. Let's see here. If you go Rook A1, I know what you want to say, that you're trading off the rooks and you're winning. Is that what you want to say? Yeah, because if you do this, I think it's not winning. If you do this, it's not. Yeah, exactly. You can just play. No, you cannot play that, right? No, then I queen and I take your queen in the end. No, you can't do that. You have to take the pawn, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a draw. This is a draw. Because I'm playing this next turn and I'm queening, and you have to, how do you say, stalemate me. Or anyone who can see this clearly, let me know. But I think it's a draw at this point of the game. Because if you bring in the king, for instance, I'm playing this, and if you think about like defending against this somehow, I'm just queening anyway, right? Yeah, Queen F4, I'm playing this anyway, right? And again, right, if you play Queen F2, I'm just queening. Queen D8 wins. Queen D8 wins. Okay. I'm sure it does, but explain to me why. Why does Queen D8 win, Metza Mortis? I don't understand. This is my next move, right? If you... The stalemate trick, exactly. Yeah, I think it's a draw, if I'm not mistaken. So coming back to this situation, I think the problem here, if you play Rook takes G2, I'm checking you first, but I think the next move is this instead. And I think you have a problem getting back to... Is that true or not? Oh, it's not true. I actually don't know. And you would have to play something like that, I guess, right? And you play Rook B1. Is this going in the right direction? Anyone who can understand this? I have a theory about this, guys. I think we put a Rook on A3 in the end, right? And we win. Like you put the Rook on. You put the Rook on A3 at the very end, like this. And then on B3, sorry, and you're winning instantly, right? Yeah. Oh no, wait a little. No, this is not. Then they can take, right? Or no? Oh no, you're just taking anyway. Of course, yeah. I'm being stupid. Yeah, you're just going up with the rook, and then they can never play this because you check them, right? Right. I think we got it. No. Or you could play B6 instantly. Good point, Sarthak. You could also play B6 instantly here. After Rook takes G2. You could play this at once. Maybe that's even simpler, Sarthak. You have a good point there. You could play something like Rook B5 maybe. And they would have to go down like... Yeah, this is terrible for black, right? They would have to go down like that. And you can always play this move that I like. You can always... Oh, sorry. I mean like this. You can always... Oh, you're even... Yeah, you win in 1,000 ways now. Yeah, right. So coming back to this again. We have this position... So we played Rook B2 to take the pawn. You see how difficult this endgame is. But the best move is not Rook takes G2. So what would the best move be then? Anyone? Ah, that's right. Sharat and Sarthak and Happy Pawn. We would play king f2 instead. Exactly. That's the right move, no? And when I play b6, it's different. Okay, let's take Happy Pawn. You can show us the rest of the story, okay? What happens now, Happy Pawn? How do you draw this then? Well, hint, you have seen part of the story before, okay? Yeah, black could even win if white gets over excited. So please, Happy Pawn, go for it. No reason to get nervous. Exactly. We take on g2 because we have seen that in the endgame with queen versus 2 pawns, we can actually make a draw. Aha. Yeah, exactly. But okay, very hard to see this whole variation. No? Without a computer, it's almost impossible to find all these moves. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show everybody. That if you get to this endgame, it seems you actually make a draw here. They can't progress in a good way, right? If I play like that, and here I think you should be. No, you don't need to be even careful here. I think in this. Yeah, I mean a little careful is always good, but h3 is probably a good move, and you go king 8 next time, right? So I'm too far away. All right, let's see. Can we do this together from the very beginning instead of trading rooks? Why not rook c2? No, I don't think that works. Sarthak. We talked about that already, right? We talked about it when we said you mean here to go rook down and go back. I don't think so. If I play rook b3 now, for instance, and then I play b7 and king c7, you don't think I win there with white? Or no? No, I mean these endgames, anything can happen. Maybe we're missing something. Yeah, g4 I'm taking, and I'm probably not. I'm not desperate to take, right? Maybe I can run with the pawn one step first, right? So, and then I can sacrifice and I think I'm winning now, or something like that. Unless we missed something, but I don't think so. So right, let's go back. Let's do it one more time. Last time, completely unrelated to what we talked about, but still kind of interesting. So we will do this again. Please remember that there was a difficult move here somewhere, that we should not rush with the king, right? But then we should actually rush with the king. Let's see who can remember the whole sequence here. If I'm not mistaken, each and every move here is only move. The whole variation is just filled with only moves. It's like 12 only moves in a row. All right, there we go. You get 1 minute. Can we check? I will forget. Don't be so pessimistic, Pop Fisher. Don't be so pessimistic. If I could find that other example, it would be great, though. I know exactly how it goes. Okay, we have many winners. Santos, Sarat, Oski, Nicole, Mecha, and many of you were close, but at Weekend, Cesort, and Rip and Mars, I will check you in that case, right? Please, Santos, you can show us. You missed the final move, Happy Pawn. How is that possible? You queened the rook, or what? Anyway, let's see. I'll continue in the. I already forgot the variation. I play. What did I play last time? I brought the king. Yeah. Sorry. It's still a draw if you queen a rook. It's just more work, right? So I'm ready to move my rook. I would like to do this. If you play king f2, those of you who said here king f2, big group. We said that rook a2 and then bring the king, and it's hopeless, right? Because black can never take the pawn. That's what we said. So rook b2 is very important. So anyone, what's the real point behind rook b2? Why did we play that? Exactly, to prevent a check. The point was actually not to take the pawn, which I thought myself was the pawn, but it's to stop rook a2, exactly, like make it possible for the king to take the pawn. Yeah, strange situation in chess. When you attack a pawn, you usually aim to take it, but in this case, it was not like that. It was meant in a different way, this move. All right, I'll continue. What did I play last time? I played king c5, right? I think. And now we bring in the king, exactly. And I'm hoping I can trade off the rooks. So somebody was saying to me that this was still a draw. I'm just checking now, double checking. Was this a draw, somebody said? No, nobody said that. All right. And then the rest was easy to understand. Aha. And here I think also the moves were not, you don't have that many options here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you could have played king g2, but maybe then there is queen f4 and so on. So you should probably rush here instead. Yeah. And then we can just bring in the pawn. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. If you queen a rook, you're probably still making a draw. But it seems extremely unnecessary to do it. Aha. Exactly. So yeah, nice work by those of you who found this and by everyone else also. We learned something new, right? This kind of, you could say, unusual king raid. I have a chapter about this in the endgame book, which is called King Raids. It happens in some endgame. By the way, I actually found the other example I was looking for from the very beginning. So if you don't mind, let's just check that one and we are done. What happens if g4? When g4? I don't understand, Sharat. Can you explain when? First move. Oh, thanks for, I forgot to ask. I forgot to mention that. Very important that you mentioned that. We forgot to check those other moves. So if you play g4, I think the problem is that I'm trading off pawns and I'm winning. I'm taking the h pawn. I think I can play. I can take and I play b6. You cannot take because of rook a2. So you would have to go back with the rook, right, Sarat? You must go back now, I think. Else I'm playing rook b5 and I must be winning by all means, right? So you go back and then I think the point was to play this move. And then it's quite simple after that because you could just push the pawn and trade this pawn for that pawn. And then definitely Black's king was wishing that he was somewhere else, like right in this neighborhood, and not on the other side of the planet. No? So yeah, like Lucena or something like that. So I don't think that worked, but thanks for pointing out, Sarat. Else this would be, you could say the move g4 is very logical. Trading pawns when defending. No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you can win that endgame with eyes closed, the happy pawn. In a blindfold game, you will win that rook endgame. Don't even think twice about it. All right, I'm bringing up the example that I wanted to show from the very beginning. About, I won't tell you the topic. So this is the game. White made a draw in this difficult-looking endgame. Okay, how did they make a draw? Black plays g4. Well, for starters, it's white to move, but I can certainly see your point. You want to play g4 and trade off my knight and queen your pawn or something like that, I imagine, Mezza Mortis. Anyway, that's a different challenge. All I'm asking you to do, Mezza Mortis, is to save this game with the white pieces, okay? And there is a little funny tactical twist to all this that I would like you to see. Maybe we saw this in the past. It's possible that we actually came across this in the past. Yeah, it's one of my favorite endgames. It's not that difficult, I think. I'll give you 1 minute and 30, okay? Think about our topic, guys. We talked about an active king, and we said that active king doesn't necessarily mean that you're sending the king towards the center, right? It depends on what we have to do with our king, right? Like the tricky windmill said. It depends on the functions of the king. Okay, those of you who play Grob's attack a little later in the game, I guess I'll just push my pawn. I don't see exactly what you accomplish. But I know what I will do. I will run with my pawn and bring my knight to help it, and bring my king also. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm missing something. Wow, why does everybody want to play that? Please notice that some pawn moves will jeopardize the other pawns. If you play g4, the pawn on e5 becomes very lonely, right? I don't think that's a healthy move at any stage of the game. Well, it depends now. Maybe to stop black's king. So, did we get any winners? So we have a group which is very close. Tilt on the knight, shift, dash Bodger, and skilled saber. You're extremely close. Metza Mortis, we have a winner. Fantastic. And also Spellman, Q Spellman, you were extremely close. Let's check with Metza Mortis, our only winner in this case. You got it, yeah, sure. So the first move is f3. Sometimes we need to use our pawns when activating the king, right? Activating the king. The normal move here, for most of us, myself included, king f1 is the most natural move, trying to bring in the king. However, the king's path is not so powerful, right? Anyone, what would black play here? Yeah, not so difficult. We will play b3, we're coming closer, and you can see black's agony here, white's agony, sorry. The pawns will start to drop off, right? Anyone? b2, when I send the king closer, yeah, this is now a big threat, right? When I play king, exactly, Sharat, you can play knight f3. So you're winning at least one pawn here, I think, in this variation, or two pawns maybe. I think I have to play knight b1, right? And then I think you can take the pawn, this pawn I was thinking of mainly. And yeah, I don't know, maybe you can come back and maybe take another pawn. So this doesn't look like it's big fun for white. Yeah, for starters, I can probably not play this due to that, if I'm not mistaken. So this looks quite bad. So yeah, we would like to bring in the king in this way instead, so that we hit the knight, right? So f3, it's what he played in the game, Golubovic. Black played b3, not surprisingly. Those of you who said g4, by the way, I failed to understand why would you play that move? And it's basically the same thing, right? I send a pawn and I start attacking the pawns, right? So that can't be right. Yeah, c5, by the way, those of you who said c5, black is always inside the square, right? They're inside the square, so it's probably not a good idea. It's just helping black to get closer, right? So coming back to Metza Mortis, yeah, f3, b3. Please continue, Metza. King f2, and I continue with my plan, of course. And this is the important move. Looks like a miscalculation, no? Did white calculate wrongly? Now the pawn queens? Or no? I just play like that and I queen, right? We should play knight b1 instead, right? To block the pawn. Correct? No, not correct, no? The knight is trapped, exactly. But just for fun, what would black play if knight b1? The knight is trapped, yeah, right. Question, what would black play here after knight b1? What's black's correct plan? Knight c6, exactly. Question to Santos and everyone else. What kind of move is that? Yeah, I know it's a knight move, of course. But apart from that, why do we play a move like that? Backwards move, yeah, right. We're provoking f4, exactly. Why do we want to provoke f4? Provoke a weakness, bravo, yeah. Very smart players here. I wouldn't play g4, I would actually do the opposite. If we imagine that white's king is going in this direction, what could we do in the meantime? Anyone? Plan for black? We were going to talk about fixing pawns today, but we're talking about, exactly, John Drip, we're talking about active king. That's right. John Drip, you can show us, all right? Let's enjoy this from black's perspective. We take. We bring up the king. That's why we provoked f4, right? To get a chance to open up the game. All right, I'm sending my king in that direction. Yeah, not very difficult, no. I can go here, but then you can shift target, right? You can shift target. Instead of attacking this pawn, John Drip, you could attack something else. Exactly, we go in that direction instead. Aha. And obviously, if I go in this direction to take this pawn, my center pawns are doomed, right? Exactly. So, nice. That's the reason why we should not play knight b1. It's too passive in this case. So we're coming back now to Mezza Mortis, right? Go for it, Mezza Mortis. King e3. I'm taking the chance to help my... Yeah, by the way, knight c6, we can see the difference, right? It's not the same anymore. Because we can protect with the king instead. And then maybe we can, I don't know. What would happen after that, actually? Knight b1 or king d3, maybe. Oh, that's probably simpler. Right, good point. That's probably simpler. That's much better, of course. Yeah. Thanks, Sarat. This is much smarter. And we take the pawn next turn and we have a passed pawn. That looks excellent, yeah. Yeah, g4. Yeah, what do you think about that? Maybe we can... I don't want to play f4. We should probably take and put the knight, but this is coming also. Play h4 maybe, or yeah, something like that. We don't lose the pawn, do we? We can always defend the pawn like that, right? I think white should be able to make a draw from this, no? You can, in a very worst case, yeah, knight e5, I go knight e4 probably, and so on. So white should be okay in that endgame, yeah. All right, coming back to the more critical line. Knight check. That c pawn is great, yeah, like an outside passed pawn almost. So it looks like if white is lost here. But what had Mezza Mortis discovered? Aha, king c3. And when I queen. Unfortunately for black, this knight cannot get out of there. So that's what happened in this game. Aha. And yeah, I think they just made a draw at this stage because it would even be a little risky maybe for black to let white's king enter. So yeah, strange way to make a draw. Okay, everybody, we will do the requiz. And then I think we take one more example and we are probably done. Yeah, all right. Let's do the requiz. I hope you find these endgames interesting. You see how much tactics there are in these endgames, no? So much tactics. You always have to be awake in the tactics. All right, there you go. Fixing pawns. Yeah, we're not fixing any pawns. Quite unrelated to fixing pawns, but that's what I wanted to show you about using the king, about an active king, you could say, about an active king in a defensive context now. In a defensive context. Okay, we had many winners. Santos, Sarthak, GM, Moski, Lili, Advik, Sharat, Mezza Mortis, Q Spellman, Das, Ayans, Fianchetto, Pofiso, John Drips, Checkmate, Mars, IS, Nicole, Viz, Freya, Shooting Stars, Chess, Happy Pawn, Yegna, Smart Goldfish, Anushka, and Skilled Saber. Anushka, you're right in front of me. Okay, Yegna, next time, okay? So please go ahead, Anushka. How do you save white's skin in this case? Very quickly. Aha, f3. I'm trying to queen my pawn. I can actually queen my pawn, but I have a tactical problem after that. Okay, I was just trying to be funny here. Aha. Nice. So, topic, you could say, an active king in a defensive context. You see it, we see it very often. We see it very often when it comes to winning the game, right? exploiting an advantage and so on. But it can also take place in a more defensive situation where we are in trouble. Okay, let me bring up my next example. So Burmakin with white, Gukes with the black pieces. Gukes played at this point king e6. And I would like to know how you would continue here with the white pieces. There are two good ways of playing now, by the way. You can pick yourself the one that you like the most. I think it's enough if we do it like that. Okay, white's best continuation. What would you play here? Don't forget what today's topic is, no? Okay, Sarat and Santos, perfect. Perfectly fine what you're saying. I think your move also works. Who said that? Q Spellman, your move is fine, but if I go king d5, what's your next move? I think it's still important. Yeah, skilled saber, Young GL, you're also basically winners there. Consider yourself winners. There were many ways at the very end to win the game. Ran Ninja, Fianchetto, Popfisher, Anuska, Oski, more winners now. Sarat, Santos, Viz, King Coley, Happy Pawn. We already had a big advantage at that point, so it doesn't matter so much. John Drip, I think your move is perfectly fine also. Many ways to win at that stage of the game. I guess maybe John Drip, I go bishop f6. So, yeah, I don't know exactly. Tricky Windmill played exactly like in the game. But we talked with Tricky already, so I'll take another student here. We can take Run Ninja, all right? Run Ninja, you basically got it right also. So this is the very important move. Please notice the fixing pawns idea is of mutual nature now. If we don't do it, they might do it. Aha, fixing pawns on my opponent's bishop, exactly. But if we don't do it, they will do it. If we play king c3 first. We had a big group of students who wanted to play king d4. I don't know if this works, but I wouldn't recommend it. Or maybe you would check first, perhaps, and then you would play g4. But I wouldn't recommend this because once this happens, it's different, right? Like if white takes, you have to be careful about this, and there might even be ideas like Pop Fisher says, like bishop h4. This can never happen if the pawn is on the light square, right? So good technique is what Burmakin played in the game. He played g4, and most of you play this move also here. So perfect. All right, I'm taking on g4. You're taking back, of course. Playing king d5, trying to activate the king. No way, says Run Ninja. Checking you. And at this point, I think there are many ways of winning the position. One thing to notice, don't forget about pawn endgame transpositions. No, that's a common way to win superior positions. Now, I think knight a5 is fine also. I think everything wins here, but it takes maybe a little longer time. Yeah, what would I play in this position? I don't know. Can I like send it? Should I wait for you maybe? Like I put my bishop here and I'm waiting for you? I don't know exactly what would happen next now if I played king e6, for instance. Maybe you can win in 1,000 ways here. Yeah, I don't know. You can bring up the king, but then I go back. You can still go 96, exactly. You could play 96 here and so on. So that's why I'm saying all of you were winners here. Some of you wanted to bring up the king and so on. I think that works also. In the game, he played like Tricky said. Tricky, what was your move here? He played the simplest way. Aha, he played 96 instead, which means that we are threatening, I think, Yeah, what is our threat, by the way? We are probably just threatening to go up with the king, right, and take the pawn. Now that the bishop cannot stop it anymore. Simplification, exactly. And if I take, you can see that we are actually pawn up also. For what it's worth, we're a pawn up, but apart from that, it's easy to win this endgame, of course. So what about a5? What about a5? Yeah, if you play a5, I suspect there is like knight c4 and take the pawn, maybe. I don't know if that's a good answer. Yeah, Gukesh lost, but this was not when he was a world champion. No, this was... he was... yeah, he was like, I think 16 years old or something. No, he cannot be 16 years old. What? Wait a little. He was 12 years old. He was 12 when he played this game. Sorry, but my mathematics, not my strongest side. Yeah, a4 was my trap. Oh, I see. This is a move you can try to get in. Oh, I see what you mean. Knight c4 and a4. Yeah, that's a funny... Oh, you're actually winning. I found the losing move, knight c4. Fantastic. Yeah, good thing I'm not playing. Yeah, I also missed it, Oski. I guess knight f7 tricky. Is that better? But good move, yeah. Tricky move. Maybe we should just take this pawn instead, right? Looks simpler, no? And we can maybe go and take that pawn also. Yeah, what a nice trap. It's like they say, don't be too confident, no? Trivially winning, exactly. Aha. So, yeah, basically we were in this position. And oh, sorry, I muted myself. Very sorry. Yeah, we're just checking very quickly that everybody... Oh, sorry, Anushka. Yeah, I forgot. Or I didn't. I pressed M by accident. Yeah, very sorry. Okay, we had many winners here. We had Happy Pawn and Run Ninja and Sarat and Cesart and Santos and Pop Fisher. Sarthak, Tilt, Oski, Run Ninja. Yeah, I said that, right? And Smart Goldfish and Skilled Saber and Advik. Yeah, big group. Yeah, perfect. So please, King Collie, you can show us King Collie. Why a4 not winning? Okay, we'll see. g4. If you want to remember one move from this game, this endgame, please remember this move by Burmakin, g4. You can forget all the other moves, but please try to assimilate this picture. Now, when you put the picture like pawns like that, and they have the Dark Bishop, it's like good news for us. No? All right, let's continue. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Sorry, Shooting Stars. I can't really tell what went wrong. I guess technology is not perfect. So what was the question? That is this the last problem? Yeah, I think so. I think this is probably the last for today. So 96, good technique by Burmakin. But I had one more thing to say, but we will come to that. So if we now play a5, what is the move you wanted to play? You wanted to play a4. Yeah, you could probably play a4 also, so you stop the evil trap. Yeah, why not? This should be a good move also. But maybe simplest was to actually take and then go and take this pawn. So this was, yeah, 2006, exactly. Yes. Yeah, I can also do this all day. Happy pawn. It's an interesting endgame, no? So in any case, what I wanted to show you that maybe Black could have tried g4 instead. Maybe this was maybe a better practical try. Or what do you think? He didn't play that in the game, but it seems smarter now to play that. More practical try. So exactly, Bishop h4 is an idea here. Maybe White will forget about that. I mean, right now it's probably not a problem, but if the king drifts away, then it's not a good idea. So what do you think? How would you continue here with the white pieces? Any theories? Knight a5, not here, I hope. So I'm waiting for somebody to tell me. h4. But now we are fixing the pawns on the wrong color, no? For us. Right color for them. Which means there is some risk involved here, right? I don't know. What would Gukesh play now? Maybe send the king to d5 and then try to bring the bishop to e5, or no? Maybe, no? Doesn't look that clear. Any other idea about what we could play here? Or should I quiz you? You want a quiz? We can do a quiz also on this if you're interested in that. Okay, let's go. Let's do the quiz. So try to find the smartest way of playing here. Hold on, guys. Give me just one moment. Yeah, I think that's how it goes, right? Like that and this and that and this and that and this. Yeah, I think that will be enough. It's not very difficult. So anyway, there you go. About move orders, right? Move orders topic. Move orders in action. So I got a few winners here: Tricky, Sarat, Das, Goldfish. Those of you who recaptured, if you recaptured, I'm also taking something, no? And you get the queen, but so do I. We had more winners. Popfish or Vish, Anushka also made it. Goldfish, you can show us. Oh, Sarat said it. Okay, very bright player, this Sarat. So 96 check. This is a good move, very timely move. We want to kick away the king so we can take without them taking with the king. We don't want this to happen, of course, speaking of active king. So we play 96, but here the detail was not to take, because then black can take and also get the queen. And I can't see any skewers to pick up that queen. So the right move here, Goldfish. Aha, this way we slow them down, right? If they now take, they're way too slow. They're way too slow. It takes ages to get the queen now. So they unfortunately have to go back with the king instead. And now we're just back into the other endgame, the one we talked about, right? So, yeah, we said this a billion times. Okay, sorry. But learning by repeating, no? Learning by repeating. Aha. King d4, exactly. We're winning in our sleep. King e1, no win. King e1, no win. Yeah, I don't understand fully. What are we trying to say? Yeah, so knight, we have to play king e5 instead. And then basically, okay, who said this, by the way? Oh, you're telling somebody else. Okay. Sarat was asking about this. Anyone, should white take or should white push? What's your opinion? Anyone? Take or push with white? And if you can tell me why, even better. If you can explain. Yeah, exactly. Take. But there is another reason why we would love to take also. Less of a burden, of course. You can bring your king up and so on. But this, yeah, exactly. It's easier to take. It's easier for the knight to target a pawn on g4 than on h5. I'm not like an expert in geometry or anything, but if you play this and you want to target this pawn later, it will be slightly more difficult, less squares probably to get to that. You will have to, I don't know, do something like this maybe, but maybe I can stop it or things like that. But if you play like that instead, I think it's easier to target it or something like that. Maybe you can do this very quickly. Is that maybe the simple answer? No, because the king can also come after. No? But you could play king c3, for instance, and I think now it's hard to play. If it's a draw after h4, yeah, I don't know really. I don't know. I would play king d5 maybe with black. And if you go knight e8, oh, you have knight d8 maybe. That's bad news for me. I think I just blundered, right? I blundered when I played that. But now you need to calculate also. I don't know if there is king c4 and things like that. I don't know. Some pawns are falling on this side also. I don't know if that means anything, or white's king can always keep them away. But maybe we can play something smarter, like when the knight comes here, they want to go there. So you could play maybe bishop f8. But the knight can also try to target this pawn. So honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's also winning. Maybe it's also winning. Yeah, white's up a pawn from the very beginning. This is an extra pawn. But in any case, I think this is smarter because you're almost putting them in Zugzwang now in this position. They don't have a good square for their pieces now. So if all the pawns are weak. So if king d7, for instance, Sarthak, what would you play with the white pieces? Sarthak, you will have the last word. Aha, it's the revenge of the knight, no? We're sending the knight in this direction, and now I'm completely tied up, so you can just go and attack this pawn. Remember what Timan did. Okay, half a point for a4. But if you're young Timan, Sarthak, remember what Timan did in the first place, right? Ah, Happy Pawn remembers this. Exactly. We can do Timan's idea, but we'll do it in that way instead. And unfortunately for black, there are like too many weaknesses, I think, for them to look after. No, I don't know. I play king e6, and I think you just go back with the knight again, right? Since all the knight endgames, pawn endgames are winning, no? And then you can probably send up the king. Aha. And the evil trap by John Drip, bishop h4, fails to simply bringing the knight home. Yeah, I think so. So I hope we got this right. No, if g4, last quiz for today, definitely we're already against the clock. Yeah, last quiz for today. What do we do if they play g4? Very quickly. Aha, Tricky, Santos, Fischer, Anushka, Lily, and so on. Excellent work. Aha, excellent. Not about fixing pawns, really, more about tactics and intermediate moves and move orders and things like that. So nice. Okay, last word today. It's for grilled cheese. All right, grilled. Most technical path by white. Go for it, grilled. We're waiting for you. I don't get any answer from grilled. Oh, I picked another student. Sorry, grilled. My mistake. All right. I want a grilled cheese. Yeah, especially after this endgame. So bishop takes, and this is the important move. Unfortunate for black. Each king move has a downside to it. King e6, and we are winning easily. Nice. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. Thanks to everyone who attended. We will continue next week with more fixing pawns endgames. I hope you found this interesting. Thanks to chess.com, to Chess Dojo, to USCS and Greg Shahadi, to Chessable. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye-bye.